really hard to do nothing. You got to rest sometimes when you do nothing. Dean Heller's brain is fried, I swear to you. So I'm going to bring out the man of the hour right now, but I want to remind you of something. I want to bring up the 10-ton elephant in the room. I know a politician who's one of the greatest guys in the world and would make a great politician. And I know another politician who has kind of a similar background because he ran a few times and he lost a few times. He ran for the state legislature and he lost. He ran for Speaker of the House and he lost. He ran for United States Congress and he lost. He ran for the U.S. Senate and he lost. He ran for the vice presidential nomination and lost. He ran for the Senate again and lost again. And then he became President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. And it's a funny thing, you know, it's like I give success speeches all over the world about how you become successful in business. And I always say, you know what you call a guy who owns 7 restaurants and 6 of them go bankrupt? Millionaire, because you only need one. And so after you lose and lose and lose and then you win one, for the rest of all time, they call Abraham Lincoln Mr. President. And for the rest of all time, they'll call Danny Tarkanian Mr. United States Senator. Danny, come on up. Where is it? There he is.
All right, thank you. Wayne is so good, it's hard to follow a guy like him. And I'm very thankful that he came out here today. Kevin Wall, who's also has a conservative talk show. I encourage you all to listen to that. Carl Bunce, I'm so excited about the Clark County party. Where's Carl at? He had a chance to speak with you earlier. We got our party going in a good direction now with Carl as the county chair and Mike McDonald with our state party. Mike was going to be here today, but he had to go up to Reno to get ready for the president's visit there. And again, I want to thank my wife, who's going to be my campaign manager, who's going to get us over the top this time. I want to thank all of you for coming out here today. It's really a great, great crowd. I hope you like the Tarkanian Professional Center. We built this project in August of 2007, right when the Great Recession hit. And we almost lost the building. We almost lost it. But through hard work, perseverance, and a never give up attitude, we're now 100% leased in this building. We're going to use that same hard work, perseverance, and never give up attitude to defeat Harry Reid in this U.S. Senate seat. Dean Heller, yes.
The clone of
Harry Reid. Sometimes I get confused what side he's on. Like most of you here today, I know we have a great opportunity before us. We have a president in the White House who has true courage and conviction to make an impactful change in how Washington, D.C. operates. Just look what he's done already in his first 7 months. He's created over 1 million new jobs. Businesses are flocking back to the United States. We have the lowest unemployment rate in 16 years. We're seeing new highs almost daily in the stock market. Illegal border crossings are down 70%, and that's without the wall. Absolutely, give President Trump a hand. Violent gangs are being eradicated in America. Burdensome regulations are being eliminated, and important building projects are being streamlined so we can get them up and running faster. ISIS is being destroyed in Iraq and Syria, and President Trump even has some members of NATO finally paying their fair share. Just think what President Trump would do if he had a Senate that actually supported him, huh? When I'm elected senator from Nevada, I will vigorously fight for President Trump's America First policies. I'm gonna vote for the repeal of Obamacare. And unlike Mr. Heller, I know what the problem is with Obamacare. It's the burdensome and financial burden that is being imposed upon middle-class, hard-working Americans that were hit the hardest during the recessions, the ones that are still having a hard time putting a roof over their head, food on the table for their kids. Obamacare has been an incredible financial burden to them. Like many of you, my insurance from my family has gone up $12,000 a year. Our deductible is $5,000 per person for a family of 6. the copay went from $25 a month before Obamacare to $150 just to walk through the door for a specialist. My son here, Jerry, you want to wave, Jerry? Jerry had a stroke 2 years ago, as many of you know, and he has to see a neurologist, a hematologist, and other specialized doctors every 3 months. It's $150 just to walk through the door before you even have any other payments. That's not fair to the fabric that made America so great. The hardworking middle-class Americans, they deserve a voice in Washington, D.C., and they don't have one. Elect me, and I'm going to be your voice. I will fight for you, and we're going to protect the interests of the middle-class Americans. I certainly will vote to fund to build a wall and any other technology we can use to protect our borders and the citizens of this country. This used to be a non-controversial issue. In the early 2000s, virtually all the Democrats voted for it. But now they see it as a partisan divide and they vote against it. I know how important it is to repair and improve and modernize our infrastructure. President Eisenhower in the 1950s spent a lot of money improving our infrastructure, and he turned the United States into the greatest economic force in the whole world. And we need to get back to that. I believe in fair trade. I believe in free trade agreements with countries around the world, but they got to be fair to the United States. Look, we're the world's economic force. Everybody wants to trade with the United States. Why aren't we getting the best terms of these trade agreements? I believe in real tax reform. We need to lower the rates for everybody and eliminate the deductions that are given to the powerful special interest groups and the influential. We got to get rid of one of the most unfair tax of them all, the death tax. And the key to draining the swamp and giving America back to the people is to get term limits for all congressmen and senators. Now, my opponent, Dean Heller, he doesn't want term limits. Oh, no. He desperately wants the power and prestige of being a U.S. Senator. He has time and again sold his soul to please the liberal left and the mainstream media. When the mainstream media demonized Donald Trump and pressured candidates to reject him, D.C. Dean Heller was one of the first and most influential never-Trumpers here in the state of Nevada. He actually helped Hillary Clinton win the state of Nevada. How many of you think we're better off today? We would be better off today if Hillary Clinton was the president, not Donald Trump. Well, either Dean Heller did, or he came out against Donald Trump to save his own skin in his re-election plans 2 years later. Dean Heller, when he first campaigned for office, was strong against illegal immigration. He said he was going to stop illegal immigration. Then once he got elected, he joined the Gang of Eight that wanted to give citizenship to illegal immigrants. Dean Heller had campaigned over and over again how he would never vote to fund any organization that performed abortions. But then he gets up in front of this violent and wild town hall up in Reno and he gets caught on tape promising to protect the funding of Planned Parenthood, even though they perform millions of abortions a year. Dean Heller's lack of conviction is so obvious that the Review Journal reporter Steve Sebelius wrote just recently, and I will quote, this airplane was stopped, because this is a good quote, just a second. I don't want you to miss this quote because of the airplane. Okay, this is what Steve Sebelius wrote, and I quote you. So where does Heller actually stand? That becomes more of a mystery every time he speaks. You know, everywhere I go, I hear people tell me they're sick and tired of politicians who promise one thing when they're running for office and then do the exact opposite once they get elected. Dean Heller is a poster boy of that type of politician. Now, Dean Heller has won election after election, but he's won it by deceiving the people. Now that he has a tough primary opponent, Deceitful Dean claims that he was really never a never-Trumper. You guys believe that one? Well, let's refresh Dean Heller's memory of what he said about Donald Trump when Donald Trump needed him the most. During those 4 months in the general election when he needed him the most, what did Dean Heller say about him? I quote, Dean Heller said, I vehemently oppose our nominee. He stated, let's be very, very clear. I do not support Trump. He also said, I have no intentions of voting for Donald Trump. It's laughable now But after the damage has been done and he helped Hillary Clinton win the state of Nevada, he now claims he voted for Donald Trump. You like that one? Well, how many of you guys remember the press conference Joe Heck and Crescent Hardy had when they repudiated Donald Trump? Remember when they demanded that he step down as a nominee for our party. Well, here's a picture of it. Here's a picture. You see this guy in the back clapping over here? That's Dean Heller clapping and encouraging Joe Heck and Crescent Hardy to repudiate Donald Trump. You know what he said after that? You know what Dean Heller said at that press conference? And I quote, "I know it makes some people uncomfortable, but it's the right position for Heck and Hardy to take." Now I got a question for you, and I think this is a question Dean Heller ought to answer. Was he lying to Heck and Hardy when he encouraged them to repudiate Donald Trump and not vote for him? Or is he lying to the Nevadans today when he says he actually voted for him?
Right. How much should help him?
With friends like deceitful Dean, you sure don't need any more enemies. Dean Heller continues to deceive Nevadans. In his first press release, it came out, it said, Dean Heller is the only candidate with the solid record you can count on. How many of you think you can count on Dean Heller's record? Absolutely not. He also had the audacity in the same press release to say that I cost Republicans in Nevada their races up and down the ticket. Now let me refresh Dean Heller's memory again, as he has a hard time remembering these things. I was the only federal candidate in Southern Nevada that supported Donald Trump to the end of the campaign. And he was one of the first never-Trumpers that helped Hillary Clinton win her election, and he's the one who cost Republican seats up and down the ticket. Now, just this past week, Dean Heller came out of hiding, decided he's going to go on some conservative talk shows, and he spoke with Kevin Wall. Kevin asked him some good questions. You know, the Medicaid funding was a reason Dean Heller said he voted against the repeal of Obamacare in 2017. So Kevin asked him, Dean, was it really a cut in Medicaid spending in the Senate bill, or was it just a reduction in the amount of the increase in funding? Dean said it was a cut in the spending. He said it was a cut in the spending. Well, let's get the record straight, okay? The Senate bill was going to increase Medicaid spending by $300 billion more than it is today. That's not a cut. That's a $300 billion increase. After Medicaid spending has already gone up over 40% since Obamacare. Deceitful Dean doesn't want to tell you the truth because he knows you won't agree with him. So he uses the mainstream media's fake news and the liberals' fake news to try to get you to support his position. And I think it's disgraceful. Dean Heller said on the Kevin Wall show, Kevin asked him, why did you change your vote in 2015 when you voted to repeal Obamacare, and then in 2017 you voted against it? He said a lot of stuff's changed in Nevada. We've had over 100,000 to 150,000 new Medicaid enrollments here in the state. Well, let me try to play this for you and see if you can hear this. This is Dean's own words, so don't take my word for it. Yep, I knew if I did it right, it wouldn't work. Okay, you're going to have to take my word for it. He said that on the Kevin Wall show. But you know what the real facts are? Medicaid enrollees went down. They went down in 2016 to 17.
These versions of the repeal and replace Obamacare, including one that you supported back in 2015. Why was it right in 2015 and wrong in 2017?
On the Medicaid side of the issue, you probably have 100 to 150,000 more people on that particular issue.
Now, that's Dean Heller telling this to the public here in Nevada. In reality, Medicaid enrollees went down from 2016 to 2017. You know when it went up? It went up just before, the 2 years before his 2015 vote, when he voted voted for the repeal. It went up 300,000 people in those 2 years, but he wants to mislead you, and that's what I think is so wrong with the politicians today. That's why people don't trust their politicians. They can't tell the truth. Now look, Deceitful Dean's campaign is going to have a lot of money. They're going to be well funded. They have the establishment behind them, the lobbyists, the special interest groups, and they're going to have McConnell's PACs. I know that. And Dean has the most notorious political consultant out there. His name is Sleazy Mike Slanker. Now, Sleazy Slanker ran Mike Roberson's campaign against me in 2016 and lied and defamed me and said all these horrible things. They outspent me 4-1, and we still beat Sleazy Slanker and his opponent by an 8% margin. Now, Dean's obviously worried about me and about getting sued, because he said on the Kevin Walsh show that one thing you can count on from Danny Tarkanian is that after an election he's going to sue you. Well, let me tell you, that's not true, Dean. And again, it's just another lie by Dean. You know what I do? I sue someone who defames me and does a character assassination against me and who slanders me. I was taught you fight back for yourself. You don't stand by and let people attack you. And I sue the people that actually defame me, and I'm undefeated in my lawsuits. And I promise Dean and Sleazy Slanker are going to be next if they try it again this election. We are at too critical a time in our country's history to shirk our responsibilities. We cannot allow our country to blow the same opportunities Nevada blew in 2014, when for the first time in 89 years, the Republicans controlled the Assembly, the Senate, and the governor's office, and their major piece of legislation was a Democrat-advocated largest tax increase in state's history. We need to get Donald Trump's America First policies passed. And together we can, and I promise you, we will make America great again. I want to thank you all for coming out here again. We really appreciate it.